So here's something new for you guys, a review without a hat, and an official movie wristband. Hell yeah. Loosely based on the short story Steel by Richard Matheson, Real Steel stars Hugh Jackman, Dakota Goyo, Evangeline Lilly, Kevin Durand, and Anthony Mackie. The film takes you on the journey through the underground and professional world of robot boxing in the future year of 2020, in which the form of boxing that we did know has been replaced with robots duking it out in the ring. The main focus is on Charlie Kenton, who's reconnected with his son Max, in which they end up finding this robot in a junkyard who goes by the name of Atom, in which they end up rising him through the ranks all the way up to the top in the robot boxing world. Real Steel is a movie I was anticipating because it had that very nostalgic feeling to me, is that finally we are getting a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie. And I definitely know that almost every one of you that's watching this, I know that all of you at least once in your lives have played Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Because I don't even care how young I was or even how old I am today, I would still enjoy the hell out of playing that game because it's so nostalgic, and the fact it's just so addicting, especially when you're playing with friends, that it just keeps on going and going because you always want to be the better person in the match of who can win first and who will win last, and just keep on going and so forth. And in the end, I got exactly what I wanted out of this film. A lot of great robot boxing destruction happening, and at the same time, while that stuff's cool, everything else, definitely not on par with it though. Despite playing a character who's very self-centered, arrogant, and very greedy at times too, Hugh Jackman still managed to deliver a pretty good performance, as you can basically hand that guy almost any script that he'd offer to do, and you can see that he's definitely always putting in his best effort. You can tell that he tries hard with nearly any kind of character or role that he's taken on. He plays along with material, and no matter what kind he's given, he always tries his best, and that's definitely what he did. He did pretty good. I also thought Evangeline Lilly was decent, even though she's playing a total caricature from the very first time you see her. Dakota Goyo, who plays Hugh Jackman's character's son in this movie, I was really 50-50 with him because at times I found him very harmless because he did seem kind of likable at some points, but there were points where I think maybe it was the writing that he was given in which his character just got really annoying for me, in which I just couldn't really stand him at certain points. Now anytime though there is a robot boxing scene, in which there are several of those, they all have a great variety for where they're set, and the attention to detail for all those different settings is very cool. Whether it's an abandoned zoo, a city fair, an underground arena, or even a professional arena, they're all done very well, and there's great detail to all those settings that it just makes the feeling even more realistic when they're fighting. Now, even though I really did enjoy the robot boxing sequences and some of the performances were decent, there are two major nitpickets I had with this film. One is that this movie runs way too long. It is 127 minutes, and a movie like this should not be that long. A runtime like that is reserved for Judd Apatow directed raunchy comedies. This is not a movie that should have that. There should have been at least 25 minutes or so that should have been cut out, because there are very overly sentimental scenes at times, in which I'm going to get into that just a bit, in which those should have been cut out, and the movie should be running at least 100 minutes at the most, because come on, a robot boxing movie does not need to run that long. And now to the second big nitpick at end, and that was Shawn Levy's direction. At times, he just tries so hard to get any emotion out of you at times, in which it just gets so annoying. Whether it's a fast zoom up on a character when they see something big happen in front of them, or the slow motion on characters on who's going to shed the first tear, constant cutting in between all of them for them getting emotional at times. It just gets on my nerves because already this is Rocky with robots that you're dealing with. It just gets annoying on you. You just want the movie, okay, move on. We're watching a movie about robots boxing one another. We don't want to be emoted with the characters at times. Like, this is just, come on. And there is a ton of product placement in this movie. Morgan Spurlock and Ruben Fleischer would be jealous that they have to make their next movie with even more brand recognition, because whenever there is an arena where they're duking it out in the ring, there are so many famous brands in this movie, it's just beyond insane. Even though it does have some major flaws, Real Steel is still a pretty entertaining movie, especially for the robot boxing scenes, which are some of the best filmed fights I have seen this year so far. I definitely enjoyed it on a guilty pleasure standpoint, even though there are those really big nitpicks I did have with it. So I'm going to give Real Steel 3 out of 5 stars. It's still a very enjoyable film, and the fact it did bring that nostalgic feeling in me that this is actually a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie finally getting made. I still enjoyed it for the fact that it really played along that setup pretty well, but still, if they had a better director than Shawn Levy working with this, it could have been much better. So I hope you enjoyed my review of Real Steel. I'm not sure if I'm going to be reviewing Straw Dogs at all this weekend, and if not, I'm going to be reviewing Abduction next Friday, so that should be very interesting right there. So in the meantime, I'm Tyler from Cali Critic Reviews, but be sure to check out these reviews before you leave, right here.